You are listening to This Podcast Could Have Been an Email, presented by Berkshire Community College.
Welcome to This Podcast Could Have Been an Email. I am one of your hosts, Adam Klepetar.
And I am the other host, a co-host, if you will. I'm Jonah Sykes.
And we are here on March 9th. 2026.
Yeah.
And before we started recording, Jonah was talking about how daylight savings has hit him hard.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted. I was in Portland last week.
Yeah.
And I never this is so unfair. I woke up at 3 a.m. every single night, didn't fall back asleep. But then when we left, I was like, oh, I'm completely jet lagged because I've been in Portland.
Right.
And then the daylight savings. Mm-hmm. So it's like...
You don't know what time is.
I'm worthless.
You're done.
I'm done.
You have no concept of time.
I literally have no concept
so you're
of time.
3 hours in the past, and now you're an hour in the future.
That's right.
So a net 2.
I'm a net 2 at the moment. Yeah, in so many different ways. Let's be honest. We are very, very happy to have Abby Powers, who is the student engagement and communications specialist in student affairs, and Akinyemi Blackshear, who is the assistant director of marketing and communications. Abby, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
But Abby has, my eyes aren't as good as they once were, but I see Abby every day. We don't live that far from one another here at BCC. But on her name tag is an Incredibles picture of her, not actually her.
Yes.
And Incredibles, from The Incredibles, the Pixar film?
Yes, it's a generated photo of me looking like I'm from The Incredibles.
Okay. Follow up. Why?
I recently cut my hair very short, and so my ID photo didn't look like me anymore, so I made it look fun.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. Okay.
I think it's really cool, and there's this constant doomsday stuff about AI.
Yeah.
So let's all lean in.
That's a Holly Hunter character, right? That you're going for from The Incredibles? Yeah.
No, it's me.
Oh, so you are in The Incredibles. Got it. Okay.
I look like an Incredible.
It's so good that it looks like Abby, and it took me a second to be like, is that what it? Oh.
Yeah. In case we have to do a trademark, Pixar made the movie The Incredibles. So this is not. They do not sponsor this podcast. Just in case.
Man, we're getting sued, aren't
we? Yeah.
Well, thanks for being on, Abby, and Akinyemi. Thank you, and welcome to the podcast.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So maybe we can just get started off with both of you kind of telling folks who don't know you. I find that hard to imagine that anyone internally wouldn't know you, Abby. But who are you? Where are you from? How long have you been with the college?
Yeah, so in a couple of weeks, I'm going to hit my 5 years, which I'm shocked by. It certainly does not feel like I've been here that long. I work in student engagement as a student engagement and communication specialist and overseeing our student government association. When I originally joined BCC, I was working as the administrative assistant to the dean of students, which gave me this really nice onboarding to BCC and learning about sort of a lot of different pieces of the things happening here. And I love working here. This is a place I really wanted to work and was sort of part of my career plan.
Let's just stick with you for a second. I think that because you're kind of like a jack of all trade, master of none type of person. I think that you're very well known on campus and that people see you all over the place. But I'm not sure that people fully understand what it is that you do, or when we created this title, student engagement and communication specialist, what that means.
Yeah, so there's a few different components of the job.
By the way, I love it when I wrote a title and I'm like, I don't. And people are like, what does that mean? I'm like, I don't know.
Something. I think the core of my job is making sure that the student voice is well represented on campus, and I think if I was to boil everything down, that's what it is. But I oversee our AI texting software with students, EdSites. So we've been doing that for 3 semesters now. It's going really well. We're on our 4th semester, really loving it, getting really good information from students. In addition to that, I help with putting out the weekly buzz, which is all the things happening on campus every week, and lots of different components. Yeah.
We're going to go to Akinyemi, but I have to tell you something. We'll do it on the podcast about Net Promoter Score and EdSites that I got last week.
Awesome.
So Akinyemi, do you want to introduce you've been here for a little while.
About 8 months now.
There may be listeners who have not had the pleasure of meeting you.
Sure, yeah. I'm Akinyemi Blackshear. I joined back in July 2025. And I came from a few different organizations, have a marketing background, and I was really excited to see this role pop up at BCC. I know you, Adam, from my work at Berkshire Family YMCA. And I was really, or the thing that drove me to work here was being able to help kind of share the student voice, but also really be more active in my community in the Berkshires. A lot of the organizations I worked in before were pretty insular, bringing people from outside of the Berkshires into the organization. And so it was nice to be in a place where I'm supporting the people here in our community.
Where are you from originally?
Originally from North Carolina.
Okay.
So I moved up to the Berkshires in 2017 to intern at Jacob's Pillow Dance Festival.
Have you acclimated to the weather?
Yes and no. I think this is the first year I felt most comfortable in the winter.
What?
Yeah,
really?
surprisingly.
This is the worst winter ever.
I'm able to wake up at 5 a.m. and go to the gym and not feel as dreaded as I used to. So feeling pretty good.
That's great. Wow. That's great. And Abby, you're originally from...
I am from the Berkshires. I'm from Pittsfield. My first job was at BCC when I was 16, working at Patterson Fieldhouse.
Really?
I didn't know that.
Yep.
What did you do?
I was a substitute lifeguard.
Oh, fun. So were you through BCC or through the Y back then? Probably.
It was through BCC back then. The dean of students was my supervisor, and I also lived walking distance to campus, so I would walk to campus often for my shifts.
That's great.
That is really great. So, Abby, you had mentioned that you really like working here. Do you want to talk a little bit more about what you like best about your job and in general, the college?
Sure.
Abby came with 12 pages of notes, and I always feel badly for people because we send the questions we're going to ask beforehand, and then we don't ask those questions.
Well, I prepare and then you throw it away.
Yeah.
No, but I love working in the student engagement office. I love the energy of the student engagement office. One of the things that it's really well known for is sort of how loud and boisterous it can be. And students are always laughing and having a good time, and we're really connecting with students. I really love the community that we have kind of on campus as a whole, but then also within the student engagement office between sort of our team and then also with the students. If they're having a really good day, we're all there rallying behind them. And when they're having a harder day, everybody's there to support them. So it's just a really great environment to be in every day.
Oh, that's great. I think we're going to take our first break. So Akinyemi, you've got time to prepare to answer a question that you don't know that we're going to ask you.
All right.
All right. Good. Thanks, folks, for listening to this podcast. Could have been an email, and we'll be right back.
Looking for a fun way to celebrate Earth Day? Join Berkshire Community College on Wednesday, April 22nd from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. for Earth Day and Campus Greenup. Lend a hand with our campus cleanup alongside the BCC facilities team and enjoy free pizza for volunteers. Meet incredible birds of prey with wildlife rehabilitator Tom Riccardi. Learn more from BCC's bee experts and green team, and experience the sounds of the Phyto-Euphonic Botanical Ensemble. Hopefully I said that correctly. Celebrate the planet with your community at BCC's Earth Day and Campus Greenup, April 22nd. Look for flyers around campus for the full schedule. And I can bring us back in. This is Jonah Sykes. You're listening to this podcast. Could have been an email. With us are Akinyemi Blackshear, Assistant Director of Marketing, and Abby Powers, the, Student Engagement and Communication Specialist. I was going to make it up, and then I was like, you know what? I have notes for this reason that I wrote. So that's great. So I actually want to also just briefly, people might be like, what do Abby and Akinyemi have in common? Why is this our duo? And I think what they have in common is in the short times they've worked together, they've really transformed the way that we communicate and engage with students. And as somebody who helped hire Akinyemi, I can just say that he's probably the best thing we've ever done at BCC, and as long as I've been here, which is now 8.5, almost 9 years. Wow. And I think one of the things I find remarkable is there's so many incredible ways to engage with students, which kind of gives you your why. And I feel like in marketing, sometimes we get removed from the why. We get kind of trapped in locations where we're really, or in opportunities where we're doing so many different things, so many different people. And external relations is like our bread and butter, but it's that internal piece that makes you kind of come to work each day. And people always say we're a students first institution,
right?
And marketing can get away from that, which is always a risk because we are responsible for showcasing students seeing themselves in in the way that we promote the college. And so I think it's amazing what Akinyemi has been able to do, working with Abby and just coming in and be like, I have an idea. What do you think? And I'm like, run with it. And some of our most successful social media interactions in the last 9+ years have been videos and reels that Akinyemi has produced from the student perspective. Granted, it was Celia Norcross. It's hard not to have like the best ever there. True. But I want to bring them in because I think it's interesting the work that you two have done in your 9 months together. Can you talk about that? Like what you're doing? You guys meet, I think, weekly or monthly or every day. I actually don't know. I don't check the calendar that often. But what do you guys do, and why do you do it for the student perspective?
Well, we meet every 2 weeks.
All right,
and what we do, I think, is try to align on what, Abby's needs are in student engagement and how can marketing support some of those needs. Thinking about how we reach students, I think, is always top of mind. Students need multiple reminders. All of us need multiple reminders on, events that are happening or programs that are happening, and then also finding those opportunities for storytelling moments to authentically communicate what BCC is, who BCC is, and where BCC is going.
Absolutely. I think the storytelling piece is kind of the biggest connection point that we have because I'm working with students every day and getting to hear their stories and then putting them in touch with someone who can make them into these beautiful, spots.
What have you found, Akinyemi, from trying to work with students? Students literally are in your office. More than students are ever on the second floor of field for any meaningful reason. They're in your office, they're working with the equipment, they're asking you questions, they're engaging with you. What has that meant for you, and what do you hope to do with more of that?
I think it's really connected me to the college a lot more than I was probably initially expecting. I often tell everyone I feel pretty disconnected from students just because of where our offices are located. But it's been great to see students like Jason come to the marketing department and, ask for advice for, videos that he's shooting using our cameras, and really kind of try to be a mentor to students who are interested in marketing or who are doing marketing on the college's behalf as well.
One of the things I found interesting is in my first year at the college, I didn't get the why until commencement. I really got to see like students that I had written spotlights on or I'd worked with briefly just for the purpose of publicity. I got to see them walk across the stage and I was like, oh, that's why I do the work that I do. But I think there's an interesting opportunity for the way that you've sort of taken this, which is working with students more directly, has probably influenced like your relationship to the college much quicker than it would have for me, who would it took me, a whole 2 years or a whole year to get through that, 2 semesters. So, there's no question there. I was just observing.
Yeah. I think also when we think about students, I often view the marketing department as the therapist of an institution because we work usually with every single department on campus. And so I'm thinking about how we bridge gaps between departments and student types as well, thinking about our workforce our workforce and community engagement team or education team, and then also our 4-credit programs and how we both amplify the stories of both types of students or all types of students at our institution.
I think one of the things about marketing and communications that has always kind of struck me as a challenge, I shouldn't say always, in the 9.5 years that I've been here, it's really crystallized for me, is that we are all consumers of marketing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We think that we're consumers of BCC's marketing.
Yeah.
And that means that we all have opinions on it, right? Whereas most of us probably don't have opinions on how someone teaches an anatomy and physiology lab.
Nor should they.
Right. Well, I mean, you may have applied for that job at one point in time.
I did apply for it, but lost. So.
But we kind of trust in the expertise of lots of people who work here. But in marketing, I think we have a tendency to think like I know a lot about marketing because I'm consuming marketing and communications, Abby. I think the way that we communicate with students. What's that like?
It's a challenge. I think that there's a lot of ideas out there and people have a lot of feedback, and I try to be a sponge to that feedback, especially since I'm new to this institution. I don't know what we've done before. So, I may have an idea and you're like, oh, we've already done this. Like, this is not it. And so I try to I'm trying to reorient our department to be always trying to think of like the goals that we have for the institution and for ourselves, and really trying to think about how we can be more innovative in our marketing and move the needle forward in our,
since Akinyemi started and brought on Shwa Visser, who is our graphic designer. Full disclosure, if you are seeking therapeutic advice from marketing, please go to Akinyemi Shwa and do not come to me. Just an FYI. But since they've started, the amount of, so Shwa's been here since October, Akinyemi's been here since July. The amount of like efficiencies that we found in the way that we communicate, or the way that we prioritize communications or deal with project management. The ways that we've just like been very innovative. It blows my mind. I feel like a boomer with like bringing kids to work. Like I feel it's amazing what they've been able to do to transform how we communicate. But one of the things I wanted to talk about, and I'm sure we'll talk about this next segment as well, is like reaching our students. Like that's the role. I think that's what Abby like does day in and day out. But like reaching our students, scale of 1 to 10. 10 being wicked easy, 1 being it's impossible. Where do you feel like it is to reach our students?
A 5.
Whoa, okay.
I think it's a 5.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's 5's middle, but for us, I think that's actually pretty good. So especially as a community college.
I think one of the really great things about BCC is that we know so many students and there's so much word of mouth. And so students can share each other, and inviting students into a space, I think, is like one of the most effective ways of getting students engaged and getting them involved.
Abby, I think it's probably true at just about any college or any educational institution that there are some really, really engaged students. And then there are some students who actually like have very little interest in engagement. They drive here, they go to their classes, they leave, they don't want anything else. How do you kind of navigate trying to communicate to everyone and maybe boost engagement just a little bit for those who otherwise aren't engaged?
Yeah, definitely. So I think one of the other things that we miss out on is all the students who are engaged in really informal ways. So like I have students that are over at Hoffman every single day hanging out with sort of their group of students and aren't necessarily coming to student activities that we're doing, but have this really rich experience here. So I think it's really important to remember that that's happening kind of organically all over campus. But yeah, I think trying to listen to students. So one of the things that came up last year was the 60-second buzz and students wanting a 60-second video of all the things happening on campus. This semester, we're trying to transition it over to students to do. It's been kind of a fun project to work on. The weekly buzz is in the bathroom. So all sort of different ways of paper, electronically, every different method.
Great. Well, thanks. I think we'll take our next break. Thanks for listening to this podcast. Could have been an email.
How do we stay grounded when the world keeps changing? Join Berkshire Community College on April 15th from 12:30 to 2 p.m. for the Earthseed Speaker and Skills Share series, featuring holistic coach Brooke Marie Bridges. Through storytelling, somatic healing, and earth-based wisdom, Brooke will guide an immersive conversation on resilience, connection, and healing in changing times. Experience a collective tea ritual, grounding practices, and community reflection. And every attendee receives a signature grounding tea blend. Learn more at berkshirecc.edu/earthseed.
And we're back to this podcast. Could have been an email here at Berkshire Community College. Abby, earlier we were talking about Net Promoter Score. You had actually done a presentation at our welcome back. The reason I brought it up is I was at the Achieving the Dream conference last year. It's called Dream. And I went to a presentation by EdSites because I was like, it's EdSites. We use them. I'm curious to know if if I'll learn anything. I didn't. We're not doing anything. We're not doing. Oh my gosh, she's got a Jurassic Park thing on the other side of her.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. There's only one person who can meet my love of dinosaurs and surpass it by far, knowing your wedding as well. So that would be Abby Powers. It's beyond the Jurassic, Triassic period of love for dinosaurs. But sorry, Net Promoter Scores.
Well, anyway, so they did this presentation on how they're using EdSites, which is very, very similar to the way we are. And then they were bragging about their wonderful Net Promoter Score, which was a 48.
Yes. A 48 is a high score for EdSites. The Net Promoter Score goes from -100 to +100, and we really had no idea where we were going to land. But we landed with a 72, which I think was in their top few colleges.
I want my jaw on the floor. What does that mean?
It was even higher. It's even better for community colleges, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what is a Net Promoter Score?
So they ask the students on a scale of would you recommend BCC to a friend?
Okay. I got it. Okay.
And 1 to 10. And then 9 and 10 count as positives. Anything, I think it's 6, 7, 8 are neutral, and below that is negative. So sort of the neutrals don't count.
So wait, when you said that the communication difficulty is a 5, you meant that was negative?
No, just neutral, right? Oh, no, it is negative. Well, it is negative. All right, so we don't get promoted. We
somewhere between. But one of the really cool things that we saw was we actually had a really high number of neutrals, but in the neutrals comments, it was like, I love BCC. BCC is the greatest place to be. This is my second home. Right. So students were just grading us on a hard scale.
But still 72. I mean, so that's amazing.
Yes, it was outstanding. I was very curious. Ed Sykes gives an award to the highest community college score getter, and I was very curious. They scored 2 points higher than us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We got to think about, Akinyemi, how do we put this on a billboard? This is very complicated, right?
Yeah, incredibly complicated.
72 out of 100, your BCC, right? Like,
actually, when Abby came to
C-.
when Abby came to cabinet and did that presentation, I've been meaning to talk to you about this for 3 months ago or something like that.
That's a while ago.
There's a form of kind of communication to change behavior called social norming.
Absolutely, I
know
it well.
Yeah. And so for our listeners, it's basically they use it a lot in public health, where if you surround yourself with people who all smoke cigarettes, you think everyone smokes cigarettes, and then you kind of say to people, at Berkshire Community College, 9 out of 10 students here do not smoke cigarettes, and you're kind of reframing it. I think we could use some of the Ed Sykes data to do some social norming.
Back in the day when I worked at United Way, not me specifically, we reduced the teen birth rate in Berkshire County so dramatically that it's no longer a thing anymore. And the reason we did that social norming strategy is exactly what it was. And so similarly, what we do at BCC a little bit is because Tom Tyning always, once a semester, he calls me and says, I see a cigarette butt outside, do another campaign to reduce smoking on campus. So we'll remind people that most people don't actually smoke on campus. It's not a thing. So people are like, it's sort of similar, small version of that, but I think you're absolutely right. One of the things we're trying to do with our brand is increase the reputation of the college through perception, and perception is reality. So we tell people this actually is reality, and it's your perception of reality. So I think it'd be a really great marketing campaign.
And the number one way that prospective students choose a college is based on their perception of its academic quality.
Absolutely.
So I think that it's a good thing for us to do kind of internally, so that our students feel really good about the place that they're going to school and getting educated, but also probably would be good in recruitment. So thank you all for coming to our meeting.
Literally,
So the next question that we have is for Akinyemi, which is, can you debut any information about the new BCC partnership program for students? And I have no idea what I just asked you.
See?
Sure.
This is really a debut.
So the BCC partnership program, I got the idea because I've worked at a lot of organizations in the Berkshires, and partnerships are bread and butter. And so it's really about connecting students to local businesses and arts organizations here in the area. And pretty much what it will do is arts organizations, restaurants, any organization out there can kind of buy into this program and offer discounts to our students. So right now we have Wander Cafe and BB's Hotspot, who's offering 10% off when you show your BCC ID for any orders that you have there. And then we are in discussion with a couple other organizations and hoping to really have a robust number of offerings for both students and alumni to kind of get discounts for being students here.
Oh, that's really great. Yeah. Another benefit of being a BCC student. So question for both of you. What are your hopes and dreams for engaging, collaborating, or empowering students across campus over the next several months?
I think for me, I really just want to share more student stories. We're going to pilot student takeovers this April, so on our social accounts, so look out for that. But I really want to capture the student voice and use their voices to, show who BCC is more. Right now, I feel like we're doing a lot of event promotion and trying to get people to come to specific things. Yep. But if we can humanize our organization and humanize the experience here and show people who we are, I think it'll only, help get new folks in.
I'm the parent of 2 high school students who are searching for colleges, and those takeovers are fantastic. Yeah, I think I'm really glad we're doing that. So if you're a listener, you're gonna let folks know that those are coming.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, yes. I highly recommend paying attention. That they can be really, really cool.
Yeah.
How about for you, Abby?
For me, it's just working with the students and seeing what the students want. So each semester, it's sort of a new group and a new group of leaders and a new group of people who are interested in things and kind of seeing where their passions take them and where their interest areas lie. So we have a really strong student government this year, but quite a few students are graduating. So it's always kind of bittersweet and fun to sort of see like what's coming. What is the next group of students going to look like, and what is their story?
Yeah, there's a lot of, I was just telling Akinyemi, we're doing, at the beginning of May, we're going to do like graduate portraits, not portraits of a graduate, which is the first 12 idea, but graduate portraits. We're going to invite them to come in and get some headshots taken so they can use them in LinkedIn and in the future. And I was just thinking, I was just listing off like all the students that I know, and I'm in marketing. I know very few students who are actually graduating, and I was like, oh man, this is quite the class of students. Now it helps that, we have more enrollment, more engagement on campus, but these students have been deeply engaged, and I'm really excited for this commencement, and I can only imagine like it's got to be so bittersweet, especially for you, because you literally helped to refound some parts of the SGA that had kind of gone defunct during COVID to then, and these folks helped shepherd that in. That's their legacy.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine how that must feel for you.
Yeah, it's been so fun getting to sort of like build this group and watch the momentum of it. And I think sort of the people that I first started working with will be transitioning off this year at graduation. And we have some really great stories of students who've gone on to leadership roles. One of my students last year is in a leadership role at Salem State now. And so sort of like watching their journeys is really fulfilling as well.
There's something that Daryl had said too about how his students had gone off to found like a basketball club at the last one. So it's just like, it's really incredible.
It is incredible.
Yeah, we have a couple of student stories coming up this year that we're preparing for. We have one we're going to interview next week. We're excited to debut our spotlights as videos as well, so that there are more ways to engage with that. But I think this is time. I'm going to take over this part. Sorry, Adam. I think this is time
I love it.
for another quick break. You're listening to this podcast, Could Have Been an Email, and we'll be right back after this. Lights up, Berkshire County. The BCC players at Berkshire Community College invite you to the hit Broadway musical, The Prom, a heartwarming, hilarious story about friendship, acceptance, and standing up for what's right. When a high school student is told she can't bring her girlfriend to prom, a group of eccentric Broadway stars swoops in to help, and chaos, music, and big dance numbers follow. Don't miss The Prom at the Robert Boland Theater on the BCC campus. Learn more and get tickets at berkshirecc.edu/BCCplayers.
And we are back with this podcast, Could Have Been an Email, our last segment. And I think we're going to ask the two of you to talk about what is your favorite thing about BCC and or the Berkshires?
I will dive in.
Thank you.
I think my favorite thing about BCC is that this is one of the first and only workplaces I felt really valued and seen at. And it has been...
Other than by the board chair at the Berkshire Family YMCA.
Right, exactly. Absolutely. But I really feel like everyone who's working here, like the culture here is just like very student focused and student centered and student first. And I feel like that breeds through all of our work. And so it's really like... In my interview process, everyone talked about not getting the Sunday scaries coming here, and I was like, that's actually true. So that's been very rewarding for me, and then being able to connect with students and my colleagues here.
Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely was someone who brought that Sunday scaries up during one of your interviews because I never have them here. And sort of one of my favorite things is there's a lot going on. Our students have big lives. Mm-hmm. Like there's difficult things that we're tackling every single day, but our students are so fun and there's so much joy that you can find every single day in our students, and just watching them every day is sort of my favorite thing. There's so much activity down in student engagement. I think everybody should come hang out in student engagement at some point just to sort of meet our students and see how they sort of organically interact with one another. We have lots of people down there always.
I always stroll down to student engagement when I need a brain break, and it's really great to get the energy down there.
Yeah, it's a shot of good vibes. Abby, let's stick with you. What are you currently either reading or watching, or a new hobby that you've gotten involved in?
I have very odd hobbies. I'm currently doing a bunch of dollhouse restoration.
Oh, that's cool. We could do a whole podcast on that. I mean, maybe not me and Jonah, but someone could. Yeah.
Sometimes it's really relaxing. Sometimes it's very stressful. And then I'm doing a bunch of book binding currently and like journal making, weird paper crafts, hands-on things.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. Akinyemi?
My hobbies are not that cool.
Or mine.
I'll give you something that I just finished reading. I was reading Parable of the Talents by Octavia Butler, and it has been on my mind for the last week since I finished it. And just the parallels to today have been very alarming, but also a little hopeful to know that people have been thinking about this before me.
That's great. Jonah, anything new for you?
Still audiobook, fourth book of, Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. I'm in part 3 of book 4. There's still 31 hours left. I'm not kidding, of the book and my audiobook to go, but it's stupid good. It wasn't good to start. I was like, I don't like this book. And now I can't. I'm obsessed. It's as per usual with Sanderson. I'm obsessed into the middle of the book, and I can't stop thinking about it.
So last week when I was in Portland, I got this email from this company I'd never heard of asking me to be on a podcast when I was at Dream. So I sent it to Jonah. And I'm like, is this legit? Am I getting robbed or scammed somehow? And Jonah actually went and listened to a couple, and he's like, no, you can be on it. So I went on this podcast, and he asked me this question. Also, this guy has got the coolest Australian accent, and I was like, yeah. And he was super charming altogether. Anyway,
were you in person?
Yeah.
Okay, good, because I heard some of them they weren't in person. The audio wasn't as good, so I'm glad you were in person. They probably had better audio.
He had really cool little tools to do it with. Yeah. Anyway, but he asked me this, and I told him I was reading Oathbringer, which is a book behind Jonah, and he was like. He stopped the podcast and was telling me all this stuff about Sanderson, and then he's like, well, what's your favorite fantasy kind of series? And I was like, well, The Lord of the Rings. And he's like, we can do an entire podcast on that. So
we should.
Well, yeah, we probably should.
Oh my God, we should.
Maybe not on work time though.
Why? Okay, if you're listening to this podcast and you want to hear Adam and I do an entire podcast on Lord of the Rings, please send an email to berkshirecc.edu.
So I've never consumed any Lord of the Rings media. Also, never Harry Potter media. So it could be an education lesson for me. You could just impart it all on me.
There you go. Because I am about to shake this board. I'm holding on for dear life. Holding on. Okay, sorry, but we should.
Well, anyway, it was fun, I really appreciate the two of you. I had the experience of being on the other side of this last week, and I know it can be a little stressful, but you both were fantastic, and we are kind of heading into spring. I think we're getting blue skies and 60, and then it's going to go back down. But we are there is the proverbial light at the end of the tunnel, and you all were talking about a lot of change with our students, and there's just a lot of change at this time of year as we make the transition from winter and into rebirth. And I just kind of wish all of our listeners a good start to their spring and a smooth transition to whatever changes you are dealing with. Thank you for listening to this episode of This Podcast Could Have Been an Email.
Special thanks to my co-host Adam Klepetar for managing to prioritize this wee podcast on top of his already very busy schedule. Thank you to our incredible guests, Abby Powers and Akinyemi Blackshear, for all that you do to make this college a better place just by being you. Thanks as always to Alzi Mercado and Dave Cachet at PCTV for making this production live beyond the recording studio. And finally, special thanks to you, dear listener, for, as you know, there goes your social life after listening to this podcast. Yet you continue to support us, and it is a wonderful gift. My name is Jonah Sykes, and thank you for listening to This Podcast Could Have Been an Email from Berkshire Community College.